anytime I talk about myself, I always talk about my parents. My dad was a World War II Marine, did the entirety of the Pacific Theater from start to finish. He was at American Samoa, Guadalcanal, New Guinea, New Britain, Iwo Jima, and the occupation of Japan as a machine gunner.
Wow.
All of that before he was 25 years old. So,
wow. Yeah.
my parents were that greatest generation that Tom Brokaw talks about that went through the Great Depression, then went through World War II and came back to the States and just went on with life with those old-fashioned American values of hard work. My mom was a registered nurse who, as she put it, was forced into early retirement at the age of 79 when she fell down while caring for a patient who broke her ribs and couldn't work anymore after that. So, that's the values that I've been given. I'm the youngest of my generation. I have two older brothers. All my first cousins are older than me. But that's how we were raised. And, it was blue collar, middle class. Wasn't always easy because, they did not recognize PTSD back in the day. And obviously, with everything my dad went through, he had it pretty badly. And then he came home, became a New York City policeman. My oldest brother, Jimmy, became a New York State trooper. My mom's father was a police officer who became a fireman. So public service kind of runs in our DNA. And growing up, I always wanted to be a policeman, but the expectation was that we were going to do better, right? So I was going to law school, and I took the LSATs back in the day, and I did well enough to get into just about any law school I wanted to. Problem was, I didn't have any money. So we had already taken all the civil service tests. My parents had us do that as we were growing up. And the NYPD called me right as I was graduating college. So I said, this is great. I'll go on the NYPD. I'll get a scholarship. I'll go on and become a lawyer. And then the next thing I knew, once I put on that uniform, I found out that that's what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And I could feel it. I could absolutely feel it. And from that point, it took off. I got fortunate.
How old were you then at that point?
I came on at 22 years old.
22.
Yeah, and I was very fortunate because I caught the sergeant's test. I think it was in 1984, like 2 years after I came on. I caught a lieutenant's test and got promoted to lieutenant.
When you say caught one, tell me about that.
The tests only come up every couple of years.
Okay.
And the NYPD actually laid police officers off in 1975. So by the time my generation came along, they were hiring like crazy. My class was 3,500. And classes after that were 2 and 3 times the size of that. So there was massive.
Mid-'80s?
Early 80s. I came on in 81.
Okay.
And massive hiring. And with it came the civil service test for promotion. Sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. And if you hit the top of each one of those lists, you got to take the next test. And that's the end of the test. After that, it's all appointment. And I kind of thought that was the end of my career because the test taking was over. And I was working in some of the most difficult precincts in New York City. And, by the way, loving it.
What was it about the career that stuck out to you that made you feel like you were really just going to fit in well? Was it the fact that you were serving others, or was it the fact that you felt like you were out there actually making a difference?
All of the above, and with it, crisis management. One of the things that I really pride myself on, and I think that this could be innate, but you can also learn it, is a coolness under fire. When things get crazy, they seem to slow down for me in my mind, and I'm able to think more clearly, probably than normal. Some would say my judgment is clouded when I'm not in a crisis, I guess.